of the Empire State, Albany Broadcasting Company's Public Affairs Department brings you news, views, and interviews. Here are your hosts, Nell Stokes-Holmes and Joe Condon.
Thank you, Diane Donato, who was just in our studio a few moments ago. It's Mother's Day morning, and this is her first Mother's Day with baby Alex, who she was just bragging about to us.
Yeah, it's great to be a mother.
I wouldn't know. Moving right along.
We'll just say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the area. It is great to be a mother. I'm a mother of 6 children and 6 stepchildren, and I have 17 grandchildren and 1 grandson.
So what's your deal today?
I'm really blessed.
Where is this convention taking place?
Nowhere that I know about. And we have with us another wonderful mother this morning that's helping us to celebrate Mother's Day, Marva Ray, who is a poet and a performing artist. And performing artist covers a wide range of things. Good morning.
Good morning, Nell. Good
Hi.
morning to all the mothers out there.
How you doing today?
I'm fine.
It's good to see you.
I really am excited about seeing you.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It has been.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Marva's a local performing artist. She's done a lot of things around the city and around the area, and we're going to talk about that. But first, we're just going to talk about you and your family, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and how things are going with you this Mother's Day.
Well, I feel particularly blessed to be here. Every day is new and exciting and different. I'm a mother and a wife. My husband's name is Emmanuel. I have 4 sons, Chris, Josh, Noah, and Solomon, and they're 19, 15, 12, and 11 respectively.
Very biblical names.
Yes, and they're strong names, and I think that there's a lot of power in the name, and I want them to have a good sense of themselves through their names. But I feel very blessed to be here, having recently taken a big step and left my state job in order to pursue my performing full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And people have been very, very supportive. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten nothing but good wishes and vibes from people for taking this step. Mm-hmm. So I feel very good to be here, and I think that everything's going to work out well for me, having made that decision.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. We go back quite a long way. My son...
we went to Dartmouth
together.
Yeah,
only 2 people I know that went to Dartmouth.
And it's amazing because as I sit here and look at you, and I still think that you have little tiny kids at home. And you told me your daughter Carolyn, who's also a performing artist, is 28 years old, and she's a baby.
Yeah.
You're a role model. I mean, there are times when I think that I can't, it's all too much. But when I am very much inspired by women like yourself.
Well, thank you.
Bring up 6 kids and you're still out here doing it. That's what I want to be able to do.
You'll do it too.
Thank you.
Tell us about some of the work that you've done in the area in terms of performing art. I know that we have a special little treat later on in the show for people. You're going to read some of your poetry and hopefully sing a couple of bars or something like that.
Okay.
But
all right. Well, I've been performing on the stage and on camera and in films since I was 12 years old, really. I went on to Dartmouth and majored in theater. Previous to that, I was with the Black Experience Ensemble with Mars Hill. I learned a lot working with him. And since I graduated and started having my children, I've kept myself involved because it was always there. I do industrial films and voiceovers. I just finished doing To Kill a Mockingbird at Capitol Rep. That was a great experience. Mm-hmm. Very nice people to work with. I've done The Wiz at Park Playhouse and Eastern Standard and The Piece of My Heart at Albany Civic. So I have remained involved. And as far as the poetry goes, it's really a surprise to me that I'm doing this, because it started about 5 years ago when a friend asked me to speak at a Women's Day program. Mm-hmm. And I wrote something for that, and I've been requested to speak in different places ever since.
Mm-hmm. And that was at one of the local churches?
Yes, it was. It was at Boy, the name went right out of my head just now. Sorry about that. But a lot of people have heard the poetry, and I've been in a couple of churches, including Mount Calvary and Macedonia. That's where it was.
Yeah.
Ooh, they would never forgive me.
You said you were doing voiceovers. What are some of the accounts that you did?
I did a voiceover for New York State Museum Mirrors exhibit, and one for Upper Planned Parenthood Association, and one for the New York State Health Department. I've done a number of, just 3 voiceovers, but the industrial films, I've done about 11 of those for various state agencies.
What's an industrial film?
Well, I guess they use that term to set it as, it's like a training film. It's like a corporation or a company puts together a film for their organization. And I played mental patients and alcoholics and caseworkers and all sorts of roles, depending on the agency.
Yeah, depending on what the agency
specializes in. Yes. And the last poetry that I did on a performance level was at the governor's Black History Month kickoff reception this past February.
And was that something that you wrote?
Yes. I've always done my own work, inspired by the event. Now you're a person that asked me several years ago as well to come speak at the Martin Luther King fundraiser down at the First Church.
Right.
And I wrote a poem for that. And all of these poems I add to my collection, hopefully to have it published one day.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Do we need to have a break, Joe?
No, I'd just like to mention, everybody, that you're listening to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW. Joe Condon along with Nell Stokes Holmes, and our guest this week is Marva Ray, a poet and a performing artist, and also a voiceover talent.
She's just loaded with talent. And she's a mom.
Yes.
And a wife.
Yes, and you know
and
how
a community worker.
Well, I haven't been as deeply involved in community work as I'd like, but I'd like to do it through my poetry. Generally, when I write something, it's to inspire and uplift, and I've always said, well, how can I give back in a sense, because it's not always paid work. You know, someone called me yesterday to speak at a graduation at the university, and you know, I do that hopefully because people have said they've been affected by it. It makes them feel good. So through that, I think I'm giving something. I hope I am.
I know you are. And it just reminded me, actually, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this, I forgot that you wrote that poem for that Martin Luther King service. That was when I was chair for the Capillary Council of Churches. My, how time flies.
I know.
You know, I mean, you get so involved in so many things, you tend to forget, you know, the things that you have been involved in. But you did write that poem for that.
Sure did.
Yeah, and now I remember it vividly.
Yeah, it was entitled "Oh Dear God," and since that program, I have presented that piece at several others. A lot of them kind of can be done at various ceremonies because generally they mostly have a message to help lift up the spirit, and when don't we need that?
Absolutely.
I mean, graduations, church programs. So I'm available to do that.
Yeah, that's great to know. Talk a little bit about your motivation for becoming a performing artist. I know that you went to college and you have a degree and all that stuff, but what was the initial motivation to you to become a performing artist? Okay,
I remember that very well. I was in 7th grade in a play at Cathedral Academy. It was Bye Bye Birdie, and I played the mother, and it was the first thing I had been in, and at the end when I came out, the whole audience stood up, and what a charge that was. I said, okay, this feels all right. I think I could do this again. Yeah, that inspired me to continue, because when I was around that age, I didn't have, I was in early adolescence, did not have a lot of self-confidence about my looks and a number of things, and to have something like that come along and say, oh, you got something.
Yeah, people,
right, yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Albany High School, and, a lot of times I feel saddened to see that Albany High doesn't get such a good rap sometimes, but it's a great school.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week we had the principal on.
Oh, okay. He's
Dr.
nice.
Washburn. He's a very nice man.
Yeah, he came to see the play.
And, yeah, he did.
He came to see To Kill a Mockingbird and came to me directly. Yes,
brought
he brought
some
the
of his students.
Yeah,
he did say that to me. One of the things that I said to him was that I have 11 of our 12 children graduated from Albany High School. And so here we are again this weekend with another person who graduated from Albany High School and went to Dartmouth. And not that many people get accepted at Dartmouth, as we know.
Yeah, I was really, very fortunate to be able to go. But Albany High, I was there for 2 years. I graduated a year early, being in the accelerated program. But my time there was, I learned a lot. And I tell my son, the 15-year-old goes there now, I said, of course, you can get out of it what you put in. So Albany High is...
You went when it was on the corner of Lake and Washington?
Actually, I went there 1 year in 10th grade. Then in 11th grade, I was the first class to graduate from the new school. And I graduated after 11th grade, so I was in both buildings 1 year.
It must have been kind of odd going from one building to the other.
Well, I think we were excited. It was this big new school, and we couldn't wait to get in there, and, it was all spread out, and, it was just exciting. It was, like the new school we were the first class, and we're very proud to be the first graduating class.
Yeah, that's something for history. We need a break.
We'll take it right now. Sunday, you're listening to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW. I'm Joe Condon, along with Nell Stokes-Holmes, and it's Mother's Day, and our guest this week is Marva Ray, poet and performing artist. We'll be back in a moment. Sunday morning, welcome back to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW. I'm Joe Condon, along with Nell Stokes-Holmes. I was going to call myself Nell Stokes-Holmes. That would have been very peculiar. Anyway, our guest this week, who's giving me a very strange look, is Marva Ray, poet and performing artist. You see, you read scripts. You know how sometimes you look at the wrong part of the script? I could have called myself Tuesday, May 6th. That's also on here. I mean...
Marva Stokes.
Something like that, yeah.
What made you get into poetry writing?
When I was younger, a little girl, I would write it sometimes, but when I was invited to speak at that church, I guess I wanted to have a format that was pleasing to the ear, I guess, and I know that people respond very well to rhythmic types of poetry, and I wanted to uplift, so I don't really know exactly why I decided to do it, but it worked for me, and people have been asking me, can you come do a poem, and so I just stuck with it.
I noticed on a few of those, they were written for special occasions.
Yes.
Is that your best time to write? Is when someone asks you and say, this is the theme?
Well, you caught me, didn't you? Well, along those lines, you have to be, there's no procrastinating. When you write, you can always say, I don't have time to do that, or I don't feel the flow, or whatever. But when someone says, Marva, can you do this for me, and I need it in 2 days to have this program, then I just sit down and let the energy flow and just write it. I never, most of the pieces I've written have been done in maybe an hour. Wow. I don't spend a lot of time. It's just I go into my heart and think about what I want to say, and then I just write it.
This sounds fascinating that you found out that you could write poetry. What, to me, I think of like lime, dime, nine, as far as something rhyming, but there's obviously more to it than that. How did you learn that you could actually write poetry, and what is poetry to you?
Well, I think most of all, I really write the kind of poetry that people can understand, not to criticize the market, but a lot of poems are very, very abstract, and you kind of weave your own meaning because you're really not sure what the author is trying to say. Poems can be that way. But the types of poems I've been writing have been, the message is pretty straightforward, and maybe that's why I've gotten such a good response, because while rhythmic, people have no problem understanding what I'm trying to convey in the poem, and they relate to that. And how I knew I could do that, I don't know. I look at it as just another blessing that's been, a talent that's been given me. It's in there, and I just allow it to come out.
Just to help me and also other people who don't understand poetry, supposing you wanted to convey a message, and I wanted to convey the same message, and I wrote a note, short note, and you wrote equal number of words a poem, what would be the difference?
I think it's for me, it's how the ear responds to it. I think that's important. Like I said, I feel and have been told there's a lot of I hate to use just the word rhythm, but they are rhythmic sounding, and different audiences find that enjoyable. I guess you'll probably see better once I get to the point in the show where I actually do the poetry, but it's kind of hard to explain it without sounding like I'm trying to pump it up, and it's so fabulous, but it does have a rhythm to it.
So, in other words, if you and I were writing about the same thing, you would write more for the ear and the sound.
Yes, I think so. I do write for that, and try to incorporate a lot of heartfelt emotions in there. People have told me a lot that they feel what I'm saying, the message, and the format being rhythmic, I think, adds to it, but also the issues that I touch upon are very personal in people, and I think that's why why they respond to the poems.
I think that now that we've talked about this and we have people just waiting to hear this poetry, let's move right into that point where you read for us one of your poems, and you can do it in whichever way you like.
Okay.
And use whatever you need to use. Okay.
Well, I hope all the mothers out there and women everywhere will be able to relate to what I'm saying. This poem is entitled "To Our Women" and appropriate for Mother's Day, and it's a poem that I wrote to give tribute to the women that came before me. Thank you for the cold winter mornings you awakened at 5 a.m. to catch a city bus on a hostile street corner to go clean somebody else's house so I could grow up free to be me. Thank you for the pains you suffered in silence, arthritis, colitis, bursitis, the man who lied to us, tears you never let me see, fears never revealed to me so as not to fuel my insecurity. Thank you for all the times you went without, shoes, clothes, vacations, pantyhose, so that my children would not be teased or displeased because the holes in their knees bespoke fonder memories. Thank you for the support you gave me, for not leaving me, even when my sicknesses, alcohol, drugs, mental illness, put that knife down, fool, for you kill us, threatened the me I really wanted to be. Thank you for the pots you prepared. Oh, yes, indeed. Chicken and dumplings, pinto beans, macaroni and cheese, and don't forget collard greens. Let me tell you, folks, we ate like kings and queens. And thank you for the spiritual food you provided, never failing to remind me to keep the faith, even when yours may have been sinking under the weight of flowers received just a day too late.
Now I understand.
Thank you.
Now we understand.
That is excellent.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Just beautiful.
How long did it take to write that?
Not very long at all. I think this one may have been under an hour. I just sat back and thought about my aunt and my grandmother who raised me primarily, and seeing them go off and out into the winter morning to go work at Albany Medical Center to take care of myself and 7 other kids in the house, after my parents split up. And all I had to do was think about that, and the words just came to me.
I was thinking when you were reading that, that's sort of the type of thing you should write to someone before they check out.
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, I was inspired in looking at taking a retrospective on my life, and my own mother is alive, and the last, and I speak to her regularly, so that last thing, she always told me to keep the faith. So I am happy that I had the opportunity to say to her, Happy Mother's Day, and to have her hear this poem as well.
You're listening to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW. Joe Condon, Nell Stokes Holmes, and our guest this week is Marva Ray, who just wrote us almost a tearful poem. And she's also a performing artist, having just recently performed with Capital Rep in To Kill a Mockingbird.
You're performing in something now, aren't you?
Yes,
tell us about that?
Right now I am in rehearsal with Actors Collaborative, and we are working on a showcase for teachers who are putting together arts and education programs. So the play itself is a Russian fairy tale, And there are 5 of us in the cast, and we will be putting this on for teachers initially and then for children in schools.
Very good. And is it, how soon will you be doing that?
The performance, the showcase is June 30th and July 1st. And then hopefully we'll get a lot of bookings that will start in October and go through the school year.
Oh, I see. Are there any other things that you're working on right now?
Well, I am always looking for work, having given up that 9 to 5. And, it was a blessing to have that job for so long. But I really do feel good that I have more time now to pursue the performing arts more. And so I am available for all sorts of work. And so I'm always looking. And hopefully I'll move to New York or Chicago or wherever the job takes me and do a residency here or there with the theater, and because I just love to do the work.
I was going to say, there can't be that much work around Albany.
Well, amazingly, there is good industrial work, like the films that I do for the agencies, and since they know my work, they call me pretty regularly, and that's pretty good money. But there isn't an abundance of work, no. So I do look at the paper from New York City. I'm looking for an agent right now. And I also plan to put my poetry on the internet and advertise it that way. I won an award at the National Library of Poetry last year at a conference in Washington.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So there are a lot of things I hope to do in the immediate future.
Yeah, you're just jam-packed full of talent.
Thank you, Nell. I have to stay focused.
And full of energy, too, I might add.
It gives me energy. And I think that was the primary reason I left the other job, because my energy was going down the drain. And I knew that if I could start to do some of these other things, that life would begin to pump back into me.
How long did you work the other job?
Since '79, I've been working for the state. What's that, 18 years, and had 1 year off when I had my second son. So quite a while, and took me through my 20s and 30s.
How's your family with this new, because it has to be a new person as well as a new position in life, because you're no longer going out in the morning and coming home in the afternoon. I
really think that the boys are very happy to see me in the house when they come home, because I've always been out in the workforce, and even though still I'm out working, these hours are better for them, because generally around that time of day I can be there and they can smell the food cooking when they come in, and that's lovely.
It's always nice to come home to when you open that door and smell
pinto beans, collard greens, macaroni.
Whatever.
Whatever. Yes, it is nice.
Well, we've got to take a break, and we'll eat, and we'll be back in a moment. Sunday morning, you're listening to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW. I'm Joe Condon, along with Nell Stokes-Holmes on Mother's Day morning, and our guest is Marva Ray, poet and performing artist. We'll be back in a moment. Sunday morning, welcome back to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW. I'm Joe Condon, along with Nell Stokes-Holmes, and our guest this week is Marva Ray, poet and performing artist on Mother's Day. And just a little suggestion, the greatest gift that you can give your mom this Mother's Day is the gift of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I always say that I want, just time. Come by and chat with me, go for a walk, go to the movies, go to dinner, any of that stuff.
We're not talking about the magazine either, folks.
No, we're not.
And you can throw in a dime in there if you can afford it. We like those
time
too.
And a dime, yes. What are you going to be doing later on today, Marva?
I'll be going back to the house and preparing dinner. And
What?
Yeah.
You've got to cook on Mother's Day?
Well, they gave me breakfast this morning. I was awakened with pancakes and bacon.
Oh, okay.
So, I guess I can manage to make the dinner. And I also have a rehearsal later on this evening with Actors Collaborative. So
you got your day all busy.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it's probably best to make the dinner yourself.
You know what I mean? Yes, I do. You know just
breakfast
how it's going to be.
Just about as much as they can manage.
I know it. But it's so sweet all the same. You know, I'm spoiled in that I have all these males, 4 sons, and than a husband in the house and being the queen bee. I mean, that is kind of nice. I must admit.
Yeah,
so
I can
they
imagine.
do spoil me at times.
Yeah, and tell us about your husband and how he's doing with this new thing that you're doing.
Actually, he is the one who's been telling me for years to get out and go do your thing. But I said, well, the time is not right yet. So he is behind me 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm very grateful and appreciative for that because I couldn't do it without support.
Yeah. I just wondered about that.
Yeah, he really is. He says, whatever you want me to do. You need me to run you down in New York or whatever. He's right there.
So you're not driving, I take it?
No, I'm not driving. No, that's one. Well, my goal is actually I literally do not drive yet. That is one of
that's what I
goal,
meant.
right? And so you told everybody, okay? Well, right. That's one, and he's looking at me like, what? That is a goal that
They didn't have driver's ed at Albany High then?
I left a year early,
Uh-huh.
so that's why I didn't get it. And I think that really is a large part of the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put it off and put it off and put it off, and then became phobic about it, and then was okay with it. But now, making all these positive changes, I feel like now is the time.
Yeah.
I think driving is like swimming. You don't need to be doing it if you don't feel comfortable about it.
Here's Amtrak. I mean, if you don't want to drive down there.
Yeah, but you had to get over there.
Right. You got to get over there.
Cab,
Right.
CDTA.
That's right. Yeah.
I can see her now with her luggage
I
on
know.
CTA going to
On the bus,
Amtrak
that's
to
right.
get to the city.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad idea. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 30 years old.
Okay.
And I went
So you got it last year?
Yeah. Oh, that
about
was
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I went to driving school
Mm.
because I just felt uncomfortable having a family member teach me how to drive.
I
and
see.
So that's my suggestion to you is to go have someone else do it with you.
Okay. Well,
And that way, preferably a woman, because that's what I asked for. Seriously.
Okay.
I felt intimidated, so I wanted to have someone that I was comfortable with.
Yeah. Well, I can understand that, and I
Marva, was that a sexist remark?
I tried to let that one slide by, but it could have been.
It could have been, but you got to be comfortable
Yeah.
with when you're learning something new. You need to be
You
comfortable.
need a calm presence.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking to Marva Ray this morning, and she's sharing with us her poetry and all the wonderful things that she's doing. She's a brave person. She left her job with New York State and is now pursuing a full-time performing arts career. And she's sharing with us some poetry. And I'd like for you to share another poem with us. And there was at one point you did a poem where after you finished there was some singing.
Yes, I'll add a little bit this time.
You'll add a little bit
Yeah,
this time?
little singing,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Now, this poem is entitled "I Want," and it's dedicated to women everywhere. I want to be beautiful, long to be free. Chokehold on my throat, he keeps stalking me. I want to soar through the air like a ballet dancer. Second beating this week. Shh, I can't answer. I want to live in a mansion, architecturally divine. Well, no drinking problem here. This is just wine. I want to wear a size 8, diva of the ball. Apple of my eye loves me when I'm small. I want a few extra bucks just to spend on me. Brothers being evicted, don't be so greedy. I want to believe him when he says, there's no one but you. Well, he's leaving her soon. Divorce is coming through. I want to tell all my sisters, so long overdue. It's okay. Turn away. Go home to you. This dream's for all of us. We are a family, like a giant tree, growing up to the sky. We are a family. We are so much more than just you and me. We are a family.
Wow.
Very good.
That was Marva Ray, poet and performing artist on News, Views, and Interviews with Joe Condon and Nell Stokes Holmes.
That was wonderful.
Thanks, now.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for asking me.
It's not over, but I just needed to say that.
Okay.
We have a little while left. Is there what's besides beginning this new venture and stepping out on faith and moving towards performing artist's career, full-time career? Excuse me. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay.
That's one of those interview questions.
Okay. Well, in 5 years, I see myself as a happier person. And I feel that by being a happier person, I can positively affect the lives of my family and those around me. I don't know exactly what it is I'll be doing, but I feel like I may have gotten that collection of poetry written, perhaps done a Broadway show, gotten my equity membership, maybe even my SAG card. But I just feel like in 5 years, it's hard for me to think that way because I really take one day at a time, and I'm so grateful for every day because, you know, there were times I didn't think I was going to make it. For physical reasons, you know, when I had my last son, I was kind of sick, and so you know how it is when you say, "Wow, I'm still here."
Right.
So to be here in 5 years, if I'm here, I think I'll be a much happier person, and my family will be happier for it as well.
Are you prepared to move along with your family, or are you
Yes, I think
to another area in order to pursue this?
Yeah, and I'm willing to do that, and I think that the family is as well. But right now, the way we envision it is that my husband would stay here with the younger boys. In 5 years, the youngest will be going on 18 years old, too. Now, that's you know, that'll be a little different. But if something comes along, you know, we have it so that the relatives here and my husband will help support the boys that are here, take care of them while I go do my thing. But, you know, I'll be back.
Yeah. and you can reach out and touch because
Right.
we're only a phone call away,
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about the thing that I often wondered about? I talked to you a little bit earlier this morning about some of my aspirations, that if I had known, if I had had the opportunity, as some people have today when I was a child, to think about what I would have been when I grew up, it probably would have been a performing artist.
Yeah, that's...
Because I really like that. But more than anything, I like writing plays.
I wish you would write some more that I can star in. Now, you want to do something?
That was a subtle hint.
Yes, it was. That's the other thing, you know, the material, the writer is critical. We have got to have the material for us performing artists to portray. So I wish you would pick up that pen.
You know, that's not a bad idea. And I've written 3 plays so far.
Oh.
Each one that I've ever written was because someone asked me to do it for a particular thing. So that's why I understand about the poetry.
You understand that, yeah.
Yeah. And the first time, I had no idea that I could even do it. And it
just snowballed and came out of you.
into a really wonderful production.
Well, I wish you would write one for me now. And some of us other local actors who need,
that sounds like
you know,
a great
some more
idea.
material, definitely.
Yeah, and I think we have to go for break.
Sunday morning, news, views, and interviews on WROW. Happy Mother's Day. I'm Joe Condon along with Nell Stokes Holmes. And we get some great poetry this morning from our guest, Marva Ray, a poet and performing artist and voiceover talent here in the Capital Region. We'll be back in a moment. Mother's Day in 1997. Welcome back to News, Views, and Interviews with Nell Stokes Holmes and yours truly, Joe Condon. Our guest this week is Marva Ray, a performing artist, a voiceover talent, and a poet right here in the Capital Region. Was there a particular singer or actor or actress who sort of influenced you and you said, hey, man, I want to get up on stage and do that too?
I would say Cicely Tyson.
Okay.
Yes. I admired her, not only her talent as an actress because she was so convincing, but she always did works of integrity, teaching works that inspired. And I didn't realize I was being that affected by her back when, like, say, her movie Sounder came out and she was doing a lot of different things. But I always loved the way she carried herself and her bearing. And it just made me proud to be, you know, a black woman. I said, look at her, and I can do it too.
Before we left, we were talking about, actually, you had challenged me to write a play.
Yes.
And Nell did that during the break.
It's all done.
That would be magical.
Wouldn't it be magical? Would be exceptional. It's like, oh wow. But the point that I was going to make prior to talking about the play was that if I had known, had the opportunity to decide what it was I wanted to be, it might have been a performing artist. But the thing that I admire most about people who are performing artists is that the skill that they have in transforming themselves into different characters. Like I saw you in The Wiz. I saw you in Eastern Standard Time, and two different
Eveline and then a bag lady.
Eveline and then a bag lady. And I know that in all the other things that you've done, you have to prepare yourself for a particular role. And I was really impressed with the bag lady part that you made. Impressed because if I didn't know you, I wouldn't have known that was you. How do you prepare your head to get into the character like that?
I think every actor probably has his or her own technique or method of doing that, but I studied the method. It's called the method technique of acting, but you get in touch with, you know, your inner self and use that in the portrayal of the character. And I'm also a very, very empathetic person. Sometimes, you know, maybe to an extreme, because I'm very sensitive, you know, about people and their feelings, and I pick up on that very easily in a person. So I'll get the script and I'll study it and try to find out who is this woman really, you know, underneath just the words that we hear her speaking. Where is she coming from? I mean, what is she really feeling? And I just focus on that and try to use what I've been through. Say she has to be emotional or angry or very happy. I use situations that have happened to me to bring that feeling to the surface. And then I try to really become, when I'm on that stage, I really try to become the character.
Don't you think, like, I think anyone can do what you just said. The extra thing is the intangible. You have to have talent. No, seriously,
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, don't you agree with that?
Yeah, I do think that is true. I've always looked at the acting in me and the writing in me really as gifts, because when I use them, I don't really feel like it's something. I feel like it's something that's been given to me that is just coming out. You know, it's hard to explain. I mean, I've had training and so forth, but these things are so close to my heart that I feel it's just a part of Marva Ray. I was born with it. So I guess that is born with the talent.
We've had people apply for jobs in broadcasting that could be nuclear scientists. They're so brilliant, but they don't have that one intangible talent.
Oh, I see. Well, I do believe everybody has the talent in something, you know, and it may not be in that broadcasting or whatever, you know, but I feel fortunate to have accepted the fact that I've found mine, and I'm going to accept it. I mean, it's like accepting a gift that you have, and you got to use it before you lose it, right?
Absolutely.
You know, it's funny, when I'm on the air, it's like doing a show over in the other room, like something happens to me when the mic goes on, and then it leaves when the mic goes off. Do you find that when you go on stage, like something happens to you?
Yes,
You can't explain it, though, can you?
It's hard to explain that. It's like being transformed almost, or something speaking through you, or something takes you over for a while, and then when I'm done, it's like I feel like an adrenaline high, you know, and then I have to come down. After a show, I'm really like you know, people are saying, congratulations, oh, I enjoyed that. And I'm looking at them like, you know, I'm not quite focused because that energy is still coming down. And I feel that energy is something that is given me, and I'm a vehicle for it.
Poor Kathy Condon puts up with that every night because I get off the air at 7 and about 7:30 I'm home, and I'm still like, you're still wound up.
Wired, yeah.
Yeah, and that brings me to another question about that whole acting thing. Each night you go on, you're coming down. What happens when the show is over?
Crash.
Are you out for a few days, or
well,
you
really do kind of, after a couple of days get the blues or whatever, because the run of a show is very intense. We did like 50 performances of Mockingbird, and it was an ensemble, and we were very close to each other as actors, and it's like a family breaking up. And you strike the set and you're literally tearing it down and putting it away to bring in another show. And it's a little sad, when your energy gets a little low for a minute. But, if you've been doing it for a long time, that's going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So that evening when it kind of hit me, I just called one of my girlfriends and said, let me talk this out so I won't feel so blue about it, and then just go on to the next thing.
So you got to have that support system out there for you.
You do.
To help you.
And with everything,
down.
And I learned that with everything, that it's okay. Reach out, to help you come down, get it in perspective, because there's a lot of rejection in the field, and that's something that you have to deal with and understand. There are going to be times where maybe you don't get the part, or it may be quite a while before you get anything, but you have to still believe in yourself, even though someone's telling you no, thank you. And that's something that you have. Support is very important in order to keep your perspective.
I know one of the things that my daughter Carolyn, as you know, is a performing artist, and she'll call and tell me that she had this great
audition, yes.
Lost my train of thought. That's great audition. Ma, it was such a great audition, and she's so excited, and ta-da-da-da, and I got a call back, and I got a second call back, but I didn't get the part. I said, and how does that make you feel? Oh, you just got to get used to it, you can't get every part. And
that's right. Well, she's got a very healthy attitude.
Yeah.
That's good.
But she gets excited about how well she did and whether or not they liked what, her or her performance. And if she doesn't get the part, it doesn't seem to...
Well, good. Then she's a proper person to be in the field, because if you're at a point where you're going to be so devastated you can't go on, then it's not worth it. You have to realize it's okay. I feel good when I do a good audition, and I can feel good inside knowing that I did well. But if they don't take me, then I'm saying, okay, well, that wasn't meant to be. I'll just hold my horses until the next thing comes along.
You're listening to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW with Nell Stokes Holmes and yours truly, Joe Condon. Our guest is Marva Ray, poet and performing artist. You were talking about the breaking up of a show when it's all over. I kind of think that, at least in broadcasting, it seems, and since we're both in the entertainment field, that people in this field get a lot closer than people in your typical office environment. Do you think so?
Yes, because you are an ensemble, and you are actively putting together a whole. Everyone's role is critical in order to make the whole thing work. So you're dependent. You're literally very dependent on one another, particularly when that curtain goes up and the show starts. We're doing what we learned, but we're also really working off one another a lot. And if someone messes up, because that does happen, if you're really an ensemble player, you're going to help them out of that situation. You're going to cover, or you're going to do what you have to do to make it work. And I'm sure you understand that, being a broadcaster.
We found the people that seem to be the closest, you talk about dependent on one another, and I've talked with people at other TV and radio stations, are the people that work weekends, because weekend people, do the jobs of 2 or 3 people that are normally done Monday through Friday, and as a result, you get very close and you're very dependent, and it's almost like a family.
Oh yeah, it is, and it's a good thing when you enjoy being around those family members.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've been I've been very fortunate and very blessed to have really good experiences in the theater, because I know a lot of people don't, and that's why I just feel like I'm just being guided to do what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have another poem?
If I may, and this one is probably going to be my last one for this particular show.
That's right.
But it's entitled, The Power Is Yours. Shackles and chains, the power is yours. Could not prevent our gains. The power is yours. History lessons, yes, we need. The power is yours. But if I may, please heed. The power is yours. There is nothing we cannot achieve. The power is yours. Construct, cultivate, or conceive. The power is yours. We can idealize, philosophize, even dream. The power is yours. But nothing can touch high self-esteem. The power is yours. Our children are precious jewels, potent seeds. The power is yours, to be handled like fine china, not garden weeds. The power is yours. Pride in our heritage, I thee wed. The power is yours. May it always motivate us to keep moving ahead. The power is yours. Alcoholism, drug addiction, they're all around. The power is yours. Build up that brother. Don't put him down. The power is yours. Our grandparents asked, how can I help thee? The power is yours. These days we ask, what can you do for me? The power is yours. Look around. Don't avert your eyes. The power is yours. The magic of kind, positive words we cannot minimize. The power is yours. Let's move past our mistrust, our fear. The power is yours, and be more willing to lend a listening ear. The power is yours. These words have no color, no race. The power is yours. Every heart benefits from a tender embrace. The power is yours. When the door to pessimism opens, slam it shut. The power is yours. Confidence, faith can get you out of that rut. The power is yours. In your mirror of self-love, I can see me. The power is yours. And when I can, I begin to be free. The power is yours. Charity, love, hope. We can open those doors because the power is mine. The power is yours.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And we have to go. The power is yours. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
You're not going to
In closing, yesterday's history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Good day.
We couldn't miss that thought on Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
You are listening to News, Views, and Interviews on WROW with Nell Stokes Holmes and yours truly, Joe Condon. Our guest this week is Marva Ray, performing artist, voiceover talent, and super poet. This program pre-recorded.